I read the first 140 pages of the Ren in the Holly Library, and I am ready to talk about it. So this book starts really strong. We follow our main character. Her name is Kirse, and she lives in this world where apparently there was a war between the monsters and the humans. Monsters are what we know as like fantasy creatures, like werewolves, vampires, all that sort of jazz. And apparently the monsters came out of hiding, and then there was some political stuff happening between them, and there was like the monster war, and the humans kind of got caught in between. So after that, things have not been going really well for the humans. And so our main character was raised in this world, and she's 25 and she is a thief. And so the story starts with her actually having to steal something from a home, which is not weird obviously for her, but what she doesn't know is that the person she's stealing from is actually a monster. We don't know what type of a monster he is until a little bit later in the story, and we don't know how old. Over 150 is as close as I've gotten to figuring out what his age is till this point. And so he catches her, and instead of handing her to the police, which if he would have, she would have been killed because stealing is against the monster treaty, basically established what clear guidelines on like human and monster relations and like what each could and could not do. And so instead of killing her or something or handing her over to the police, he decides to actually give her a job because he was very surprised at the way that she was able to disable all of his security, which in his case, because he's a warlock, he had wards. And it turns out that she went through the wards with no issues, and he has no idea how that's even possible. So it seems like our main character has some sort of power. She herself doesn't know what it is. And so she decides to take this job to figure out a little bit more about her own powers, and also so that she can get the reward that the warlock is offering, which is $10 million. And this reward will help her take care of her best friends that are basically her family. Like I said, super strong start to the book. The main characters, both of them, are really interesting. I really like Kirse because she isn't one of these characters that we see in a lot of books where like they get trapped into something and they like randomly are supernaturally gifted in something that they didn't know 10 minutes ago. No, instead, like, she is a thief, so she has the skills of her trade, and those are the things that she uses to do what the warlock wants her to do. So I really appreciate that. The male lead, obviously it's this like brooding personality type of guy. He likes to just be home and read his books, and apparently he's super powerful in the monster community. That's all we got so far. But I like him too because I feel like a lot of the times in these stories, like you'll have this like male lead who's, super like menacing and powerful, but then is super soft only for the main female lead. And I feel like at least till this point, he has not been soft with her at all, which I appreciate because it makes sense, right? They don't know each other. There's no reason why he should be. And I don't know, I really like that dynamic so far. I also appreciate that based on what I've seen so far, it does look like it's shaping up to be like lust first, and then they'll start having feelings for each other, which I'm not mad at, because I prefer that than to have those weird like insta love situations that don't really make sense. I think like it makes more sense, like, yes, if they, like each other physically, then, go from there, and maybe at some point they'll have feelings for each other. And I'm also excited because apparently this is gonna be a series. So I'm hoping that that means that we can take a little bit of time to get to that progression and build a really solid romance. Fingers crossed. So exactly where I left off was that he gave her basically a mini mission before the big mission, to steal something from another witch and warlock. And it's one of these like, oh, they have to go to a party and she has to dress really nice and pretend like they're together sort of situations, which I'm not mad at. Honestly, I think they're fun. So yeah, I'm really enjoying this so far, and I can't wait to see what happens next.